Welcome in. Good evening. It is SEC After Dark. Joining us is Jake Thomas, Stephen Willis, and Jeb Beecham. Jeb, how you doing, bud?
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
My goodness.
Jeb, you're going to have to speak up. It's muffling your voice a little bit.
Yeah, I just love it when he tells stories about Tennessee Vanderbilt games in the past, Mr. Commodore. I just love that immensely.
I like that he got dressed up for us tonight, too.
Yeah, he's wearing a suit.
Is he secretly trying to turn on us from go to the Vandy fan? Because he's wearing that outfit a lot here lately.
Well, you don't, Jake, do not miss a show. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
I know not to miss one. I know it's going to be Buzz in a heartbeat. So
it might be Albert. I don't know.
Might be. Well, you got like a 1 in 6 shot of hitting our rivals, so it's whatever. But we got an action-packed show for you guys. SEC After Dark, like I said. We got some spring football happening. A couple actually 3 quarterback battles, really. That's the main story. SEC.
My earpiece went out.
The SEC teams in the tournament. Our chat is rocking and rolling. But SEC teams in the NCAA tournament, are pro days overrated? We'll hopefully get to that. I got to say my piece on that. But guys, how you doing?
Go ahead, Jack.
I was going to say I'm doing better than Steve right now, apparently. So
had to change earpieces because the battery died.
Oh, that's no good.
So I'm now wearing a right earpiece in my left ear. So this is going to be a fantastic show.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
Nice.
It all started early, honestly.
Yeah, it's we're off the rails again.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
But we are presented by BetOnline.ag. BetOnline remains your number one source for all of your college basketball betting this season. Not only college basketball, but NBA, NHL, MLB opening day right around the corner, and of course all your college sports and XFL. But get analysis of every play, prop, and point at BetOnline. You'll find the latest odds. I don't really know what bracket contests are going on right now, but you can find the team matchups, game trends at BetOnline, Final Four props, things like that. So updated odds for everything from live games to the Final Four right through the championship. BetOnline is your college basketball headquarters this season, soon to be over. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to sign up and receive that 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Be sure to use our promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your bonus. That's your welcome bonus. They match your first deposit. BetOnline.ag is where the game starts.
Corey, did you say something about March Madness? I thought that was over with.
It is for the SEC.
Right. Yeah, I haven't watched it since and couldn't care less about it.
It is my understanding March Madness isn't over until you play Houston.
I thought they was already out of it.
No, I mean for the SEC.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Georgia didn't make it to March, so yeah. So it was over in February for me.
Yeah, I guess we can segue right into that then. We'll just go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, why did our teams do, like, what is it about the SEC in basketball like that we're not quite ready yet? Is it the fact that like the transfer portal is crippling some of these bigger programs and leveling the playing field some with these smaller schools like FAU being in the like Princeton making their run in the tournament? Who else is in the Final Four?
Miami is a 5 seed.
Miami as a 5 seed in the Final Four. In San Diego State in the Final Four. Like what like San Diego State FAU. Like if you had that on your bracket, then you're just an FAU fan or a San Diego State fan. So what is it about these teams? Is it just a fluke? What is it?
I think NIL has just leveled the playing field. It's made it to where when it used to be the top 12 teams in the country were the important ones, now it's the top 30 teams in the country. The parity at the top has all been evened out a little bit because some of those players are now going to different schools. And the same thing's going to happen in football as well. I've had this argument, honestly, with Stacey before and everybody, and I absolutely believe it. The playoff, the way it was constructed originally, made it to where 5 or 6 teams just consistently got better than everybody else because they could recruit to it. Now you have a situation where NIL and transfer portal and everything is going to spread it out a little bit, bring the top back down, then it might be the top 12 have a legitimate shot at the national title instead of the top 6. I mean, it should be pretty interesting, but that's what I think is going to happen. The SEC is going to eventually be fine in college basketball. I think it hurts them right now that Kentucky is kind of twiddling their thumbs. I think it hurts them that Florida has kind of lost their way. I mean, because normally in a big SEC year, you could count on those 2 schools and then everybody else would pop up around it. Those are kind of down, and these schools that are popping up and everything, they almost get more credit than they normally would because of where Kentucky and Florida is kind of sitting, in my opinion.
Like for Alabama, they were the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, Jake. What was their downfall? Did they not have enough bench depth? Did they not have their role players were off? Were they trying to rely on Brandon Miller too long and it just got exposed? What?
The thing that really killed us is shooting. I mean, when you go ice cold, we went ice cold, honestly, behind the arc 3 weeks before the SEC tournament. I mean, Sears lost his shot. Griffin lost his shot. Brandon Miller had to carry us, and Noah Clowney as well in the last couple weeks of the season. Bediako was really, really good down the stretch. But that last game, I mean, your star player, Brandon Miller, went 1 of 9 from the field behind three-point line. And Sears was non-existent. JQ really had a great, Sweet 16 showing and tournament showing. But other than that, I mean, there was times that your guys that you need to score were not there when you needed it. So it all goes back to shooting. If anybody can beat anybody on the basketball court any given night, if their shots are not going down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt.
And the way Alabama plays, their 3-point shots are layups. So if their 3-pointers aren't going down, they're at risk of being upset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So we got a question. Do y'all think locker room dynamics at big programs are being affected by some players making more money than others? I think that's what he was going to finish there. But, I mean,
no,
I don't know.
Because
Probably
if you want to make it in the NFL, they're going to have to face that anyway. I mean,
right.
the ones that it does affect probably aren't worth your while anyway. I think those people wouldn't make it in the NFL for the same reason, that you walk into a locker room and Tom Brady's over there and he's going to get more than you on everything, and you just got to deal with it. Same with NIL. I mean, it's just the way of the football world. So
probably makes their transition to the NFL a little bit easier.
Yeah,
because they're going from a situation when everybody was treated equally to go into a situation where there's massive disparity in money.
And starting positions are determined by contracts. Like, hey, we just paid this guy 3 years, 18 million guaranteed, and you're on a 2-year contract for $6 million guaranteed. Yeah, we're going to give that guy every single chance that he can. We're gonna exhaust all our options before we bench him because we've invested in him. It just is what it is.
Basketball, all the sports. I'm just a capitalist when it comes to this. Yeah, I mean, it's not fair, Chauncey. It never will be fair, and good players are going to. There's a reason that Bronny James is in the McDonald's All-American game, and it has nothing to do with his talent.
Yeah, it's his name.
Yeah.
I mean, it also helps that he's good at basketball, but I mean, the NBA is probably more. There's probably a wider gap in the NBA, and people understand. I mean, superstars are superstars. You're gonna. I mean, that's where the money's gonna go, and just whatever.
And I'll tell you another thing that's going to hurt dynamics in college basketball is not getting the studs coming out of high school. I feel like because the G League can just come calling at any time and just pull that guy straight from high school now.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA just needs to.
The one and dones need to go away.
Right, I agree.
It's just I mean, college is not going to be able to get any one and dones. The NBA it's just going to turn into if you're not good enough for the NBA, you're just going to go. It's either going to be NBA or college, like it was. I mean, back in the night, back when you could declare straight out of high school, I thought the college game was unaffected. It didn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't matter if LeBron James didn't play college basketball. Guess who cared?
You know what? Basketball should be just like baseball. You can go straight out of high school, and if you want to go to the pros straight out of high school, you can do that. But if you go to college, you got to stay for 3 years.
I love that.
I love it 100%.
I think you see a lot of people that try to make when you could declare when it was still legal to declare out of high school. I think the ones that would be one and dones were declaring out of high school and getting drafted. So the people that were enrolling in college weren't coming out after their freshman year, or very rarely were coming out after their freshman year. So it just naturally stayed 2-3 years, just, because they're just not there yet. So I think it would work itself out in basketball because there's way less spots than baseball. There's way less spots in the NBA than there is in the NFL. So people probably can't make that jump as easy. But you should be able to do it out of high school. Like if you're LeBron James, if LeBron James came out of high school in the era of the one and done, he would have spent 1 year at Ohio State, been a complete waste of time, and got drafted first overall. It wouldn't have mattered. Like the ones like that, it doesn't matter. And they need to be able to just go because they're going to just go anyway.
Yeah.
You got Stacey getting analytical with me.
Oh, okay.
12-3. I did not know that.
Yeah.
12-3 when shooting less than
Stats.
30%.
What was their overall record though?
31-6, I believe.
So they have a better record when they shoot over 30%. That's what I'm getting there. Okay.
Oh, I understand. I just,
it wasn't their night. I mean, I think SEC teams have got to the way I was looking at more like the way these teams are constructed. Like you got to have, I think you have to kind of build a series of role players, like kind of treat it like they did with Michael in the Bulls. I know that's an NBA versus college example, but you got to have like your superstar, Brandon Miller. Then you got to say, okay, what is Brandon Miller not good at? And that's where they start their recruiting. What is he not good at? Shooting, right? He's not a shooter. He's a scorer.
Yep.
And
a playmaker.
Like he's electric. He gets to the rim. He makes things happen. So you need an elite shooter to go with him. You need somebody that can grab boards. You need a defensive stopper. Like you need to have different pieces to complement him. I think some of these teams do that at the lower levels, and they play well together. And they need a good mix of guys that, they need some 3-4 year guys that can really play to their role. Also, and I think that'll help them in tournament time.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Look at San Diego State. I think they had 3 seniors and 2 juniors on, in the starting 5. I mean, they're really experienced. So, Alabama had 2 freshmen, I believe, starting, 1 sophomore, 2 sophomores maybe, and then a junior. So, I mean, you've got experience there. I mean, the freshman studs are great, but I feel like having a little bit of experience helps in tournament time as well.
Now, Jake, I'm gonna cut you off real quick. Stacey, he's not a primary shooter. He can shoot, obviously, because he's a superstar, but that's not his primary goal, which is why he struggled. Teams took away his ability to drive and do what he does. That opens up shots for him. When he has to rely on strictly shooting, that's where he gets in trouble. Shooting is a complementary piece of his game that when he can get to the rim, it opens things up for him shooting-wise.
We got another question from from Facebook user, whoever that is, on this one. Because remember, if you're on Facebook, you have to put your name and your question as well, so we'll know who it is asking. But it says, off topic, but why are fans of Texas acting like the hire of Rodney Terry is like hiring a coach from Duke? They've lost their mind. Terry drove the car Bill Beard built, Terry is a sub 500 coach. I don't know if he's sub 500, but he's basically Larry Coker to me.
It's Wes.
Okay.
Yeah, just a babysitter. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, he's Larry
that's
Coker.
It's very un-Texas like.
Yeah.
To hire the interim guy. Like, how often has the interim guy actually panned out long term?
Yeah, major rule in athletics, and especially college athletics: never marry the babysitter. Never.
That's
well, LSU got a natty out of it, but that was just because it's
LSU got a natty because they stole from a children's cancer charity and invested in football. I mean,
yeah.
Ed Orgeron did nothing in that. Dave Aranda, absolutely. I'll hear that all day. I have massive respect for Dave Aranda.
He hired the guy that said, "Hey, Joe Burrow, you're an elite quarterback, Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Joe Brady.
Yeah,
go get it done."
Ed Orgeron gets no credit for that national championship. No more than Larry Coker did when Miami got theirs.
Well,
that national championship was won in spite of Ed Orgeron, not because.
Well, because they had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Terrace Marshall on the same receiving core.
And Clyde Edwards-Helaire and was it Thaddeus Moss at tight end? Yeah. Mm-hmm. They had some dudes.
Not to mention the freaking Stallions up front, too. So, yeah, I mean, you have two of the could be projected to be all-time great receivers, and then a solid number 2 receiver for the Carolina Panthers on your offense. I mean, hell, I could have gone out there and thrown passes to them and been just fine. The way they dismantled people was all Ed Orgeron had to do was just sit there and go, "Good job. Hey."
That was it. Just stay out of his way. Stay out of everybody's way. Let them do their job.
Yep.
Heck yeah. So let's put a lid on this SEC basketball stuff because
gross.
Because it's depressing.
As far as we're concerned, basketball season's over.
Yes.
Real quick before we get into spring, because I don't foresee this conversation going too long. Are pro days overrated? Like, what do you guys think of pro days? Like,
pro days are absolutely overrated.
Like, what? Like from a scout's point of view, though, like what do you think they ultimately get out of it? Because like them seeing a quarterback throwing on a script against air, they just want to see if he's competent, I guess, or they want to see him up close. I think, to me, the most underrated portion of pro days are the interviews.
No, interviews are cute.
The interviews are the most important part. The rest of the part is just going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're talking about a time when I had to sit out there and videotape all of these events over and over again. The benefit of that is I was able to sell DVDs to all the scouts, who was just insanely crazy. We would charge like $300 for a DVD. Seriously. No joke. The college videographers at least used to make a killing off of NFL scouts and their need to just be right. Like, we had Patrick Willis, and that was like,
Oh, yeah.
But overall, the pro day just doesn't mean anything. It's almost like they're just going through the motion and doing what they think they're supposed to do. And, to me, after the last game that a player plays, the bowl game, Jonathan Mingo's bowl game, that Texas Bowl, that's the last thing that I care about of him doing at Ole Miss. I don't care about a pro day. I realize that Ole Miss needs pro day to go very well. They need players to get drafted for recruiting. I personally do not care about pro days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could really glean a whole lot from pro days. I don't think you can really gather much, at least from the workouts. You just make sure they're healthy and not injured. And I think pro days are beneficial for guys who can't compete at the combine for whatever reason, injuries or.
Yeah, you can talk to their coaches. The scouts have the ability to talk to the coaches. That is the benefit of pro day. But you know what? You don't need to gather everybody there to do it. You can do that on a Wednesday at like 2:30 just pop in. It's not like the coaches are doing that much anyway. Go to a practice, get some scouting for next year's draft class, and talk to them in between. Stacey is still on Brandon Miller, by the way.
And he said end the story, so you hush it, Corey.
Yeah. Zip it.
I ended the story like
Zippity.
minutes
Zippity
ago.
doo-dah.
So I ended it a little while ago, Stacey. We're on pro day now, so it's all good.
Well, my question is, don't they do everything that you do in the pro day at the combine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so
yeah.
The pro day is just turned away to try and have a good number in case it's like just in case a safety combine that you can do from your own facility. It means nothing. The players are going to get drafted when they get drafted. If they are drafting off of pro days, if that's the reason all of a sudden this is a top 10 pick, I'll show you a GM that's going to get fired.
So all those like mock drafts showing that Will Levis is like going like number 5.
Yeah, and then they show us pro day throwing against air of him throwing 65 yards downfield. Yes,
yeah.
That whoever drafts him is going to lose their job.
Yeah,
it's like the Zach Wilson pro day where he launched a 60-yard dime across his body, going opposite of his He made that throw once in his brief career.
Right. Yeah.
Alex Smith. Everybody remember his pro day? The ball didn't even touch the ground. I've never seen an NFL quarterback. You were throwing routes on air. The ball's not supposed to hit the ground if you're an NFL quarterback.
Exactly. So yeah,
Does a quarterback get to use his own receivers
in the combine? No.
I didn't think so.
And pro days, like Jackson Dart stayed up throwing with guys until midnight last night. Ole Miss's pro day was today. 6 o'clock in the morning, he had to get up and start doing his own stuff. Jackson Dart's a good dude. Period.
Slade Bolden come back to Alabama and threw and ran routes for Bryce. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you get these guys that pro day for like guys like Slade Bolden could be really good. Second chance guys that like maybe they want to improve their whatever something. Right. Maybe they just want to get in front of scouts and say, "Hey, remember me? I can still play."
Right.
I got
Casey Kelly. I don't know if he's just testing the water at all. I think this is a situation where after 25% of spring, he was like 4th on the depth chart. I think that's why he's looking at doing this.
Lost his job at Ole Miss is transferring, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Caden Priestcorn is probably going to start. Michael Trigg, we talked about him doing some 12 personnel. But if he's backing up at tight end, that's a possibility as well. And then you have the young guys like Kyron Heath and Javante Connor, those guys. Yeah. It was going to be hard for Casey Kelly.
Question is, why is Richardson so high in mock draft?
Because everybody's on drugs.
Because he's 6'4", 240 and runs a 4.5 and has a rocket arm. But before you jump on me, Steve, I'm not saying he should be that high.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many games did he have over 250 yards and multiple touchdowns?
Not many.
I think 1 is the correct answer there.
So, 1. Yeah, no.
1.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's why. Scouts are enamored with physical talent. Like, he is a combine warrior. Like,
and that GM is going to get fired too.
GM is going to get fired over Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. Absolutely.
And Bryce Young is going to get a few fired because they said, hey, we're going to take Will Levis instead of like Houston's GM, Nick Caserio, will probably take one of these guys and get fired because he didn't take Bryce.
Yep.
Richardson's comp is probably Jamarcus Russell, if we're being honest.
Ooh.
Don't do that to Richardson.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. Although Jamarcus had better numbers. No, stop it. Cam got to a Super Bowl. Anthony Richardson would be good to get to the USFL championship game.
Abilities, like physical abilities, comp, not accomplishments. Physical ability comps, like style of play, like what he's good at. not accomplishments. Yeah, he can only dream of accomplishments.
Jamarcus was a combine warrior too.
Didn't he sit on his butt and throw the ball like 80 yards at his combine or something like that?
Yeah, something absolutely crazy.
He was all power. Like Richardson is a freaking athlete. He just can't necessarily play quarterback, but he's an athlete. He is like, if you morphed. Okay, here's a perfect example. Then, okay, you ready for this one? If you took, you're gonna jump all over me when I say this. If you take Cam Newton's physical abilities, you mash them with Jamarcus Russell, you get Anthony Richardson. How about that? Is that fair?
Okay, I would agree with that. If you take everything that Cam Newton is good at, right, and take all of his measurables and all that, and then take the success of Jamarcus Russell, you would have Anthony Richardson.
See? We talked ourselves into it.
Yeah.
Jake absolutely hates it. He looked like he just ate something. He looked like he just smelt a fart or something.
Anthony Richardson is not going to be as good as Cam Newton. I'm sorry.
Not even close.
No. Listen, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's going to be that. I'm saying I've always said comparatively, physical attributes.
Anthony Richardson hurt himself dancing before a game.
Yes. Yeah. Did a TikTok video. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Safe to say, Steven is not high on Anthony Richardson.
No. If it was limbo, I'd be doing all right. Somebody asked, Cassidy asked, who is y'all's quarterback going to be? It's probably right now it's going to be Jackson Dart, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. It has to be Jackson.
Dart. Jackson Dart's just balling right now. Walker Howard's balling too, making some incredibly impressive throws to the point where those two are creating such a gulf that it's going to be hard for whenever they stop load managing Spencer Sanders for him to catch up.
Somebody said Richardson probably scores a 5 on the Wonderlit test.
I think that's Wes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
probably.
Nice job, Wes. Who you want, Young or Stroud? So, like, you're the Carolina Panthers. I would love to see Bryce Young go to the Carolina Panthers to throw to DJ Shark and Adam Thielen and Terrace Marshall.
Who they hires the head coach?
Frank Reich.
Yeah, I would probably take Bryce Young into that situation as well.
Yeah, Frank Reich. I think he would do much better on the I think he'd be a better fit for the Panthers than he would be for the Texans. Like I do not want Bryce Young to go to the Texans. He will get killed.
David Carr.
Yeah, he will get destroyed, and he has no receivers to throw to. He has Robert Woods, Nico Collins, and
he's got Mechie if Mechie gets cleared after leukemia.
Yeah, I love Mechie, but you can't count on that. That's a pretty serious deal there.
Leukemia is leukemia.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious deal. I mean, I hope he gets cleared. I hope he's fine, but that's a tough thing to come back from.
Absolutely.
Oh, Chauncey asking who's getting Omar, and I have opinions on this one. I have thoughts on this, and I think nobody
let's hear 'em.
I think nobody is, because if you take Lamar Jackson, that is saying that you are going to completely shape your offense around what he does. He is not going to be a pro-style quarterback. Any of the other offenses in the NFL he would struggle with. But if you make your offense and mold it to him, you'll be fine. So you need to find a team that's willing to do that. Who's willing to do that? Maybe the Falcons or the Falcons.
Damn right, the Falcons.
The Falcons.
Arthur Smith.
I don't know if the Titans will do it. I don't know if Vrabel would do something like that. I think the Colts would do something like that.
I think they hired the wrong offensive coordinator for
I don't think that like the Panthers would. You know, the Jets are still waiting on Aaron Rodgers whenever he turns 64. He's like Social Security.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know if there's more than one team in the NFL that's willing to do that for Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson is going to play chicken on it and have himself out of the NFL.
Is this going to be kind of a situation like Colin Kaepernick?
No.
Same skill set, but there's no politics involved, so he's not going to get blackballed like Kaepernick did.
Yeah.
He's gonna get. I worry about I comp it the situation to Le'Veon Bell when he held out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He sat out for a year. He was never
Yep.
the same after that.
Yeah.
I worry about that with Lamar. Like if he sits out a year, is he the same player when he comes back?
Yeah. Bobby Bonilla's agent. Yeah.
Was it
think he's
every July 1st is Bobby Bonilla Day?
Yeah.
Well, he's gonna get paid until he's like 180 or something like that, ain't he?
Gets paid $1 million a year by the
Yeah.
Mets. He retired like a long time ago.
I mean, my gosh.
I think
the Bucks hired Baker Mayfield, so
Yeah.
that's what they did for Derek Carr. The Falcons drafted Steve Barkowski or something like that. I don't know.
But part of me thinks the Falcons and Arthur Blank, like there was an article about Arthur Blank being really pissed about what NFL teams said about the Falcons, like what NFL players rated the Falcons. Like NFL players grade they grade every, So I would see him going, okay, we need to make a splash here. And I don't know what his accent is, but he sounds real hoity-toity. That was terrible.
Yeah, that was awful.
I haven't worked on my Arthur Blank enough, so I'll stop that one. But I think he would try to make a splash.
So where are they picking at in this year's draft? This upcoming draft?
13?
So if they're going to get one of these two, I would say two quarterbacks, but one of the at least 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this draft.
They have Desmond Ridder.
Yeah,
Desmond Ridder.
If they don't get Lamar, they're not going. Lamar's the only quarterback they're going for on the market, probably.
So who would you get to elevate that team at 13?
Some on defense, probably. I don't know.
You need somebody on defense.
Maybe
Trade up for Will Anderson or Jalen Carter,
or get like Quentin Johnson from TCU, or if somehow Smith and whatever the guy from Ohio State.
The correct answer is draft a miracle. That's how you help the Falcons. Maybe do a little big league type situation.
Aren't the Saints worse off?
No,
you're a Dolphins fan. Sorry.
Saints have Derek Carr. No, I'm a Saints fan. I just said I'm not going to go through what I went through in the '80s again. I'm not riding that roller coaster again.
You know who's really going to start for the Falcons next year? They're gearing up for Caleb Williams. It's going to be Taylor Heineke. That's who's going to start. That's who. That's going to be QB1 like week 6.
He was Jordan Tamu's backup in the XFL.
I did not know that.
And he was by far the best quarterback on the Commanders roster. It was hilarious.
Hendon Hooker to the Panthers?
Hey,
1 overall? No,
not number 1. No.
Somebody's going to get a really good pickup in Hendon Hooker.
Is that West that just asked a question?
No, that's Chauncey that asked that one.
Are you talking about the Facebook user? Probably.
Yeah. Facebook
what
user.
About
put your
Miss?
last name. Oh, put your name on there.
I think it's Wes. I think it's Wes.
Probably so.
Falcons do need to go back to red helmets. Yes, I do agree with that.
I agree 100%.
But Wes, we talked about Ole Miss quarter. Jackson Dart is balling out. Like what more do you need to know? He's balling out.
Walker Howard is balling out like crazy too. He's just not going to win the job because he's a redshirt freshman. But it's kind of Ole Miss has kind of an Eli Manning, Romero Miller type situation on campus right now. And
he could be QB2 though, right?
He will.
Walker Howard probably will be QB2. Like I said, I think there might be too big of a gulf for Spencer Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Wes says I did not ask that question.
Okay,
so somebody else, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have first pick. Mike Tannenbaum seems to think Hendon Hooker is going to go 5th to the Seahawks.
Really?
It's Mike Tannenbaum,
Interesting.
former GM of the Jets. Just so you know, drafted Mark Sanchez. I think Hendon Hooker is going to be good for somebody. They're going to. Hooker to the Falcons, maybe. That'd be cool.
Pretty fired up.
I think Hooker is better than Richardson or Will Levis for sure.
Yeah, Hooker's a baller. Mm-hmm. I loved his quote. He goes, "Not my fault. My receivers are just good."
I think Anthony Richardson, Will Levis was no better than the 5th of the 6th quarterback in the SEC last year. And we're talking about them having the same number in the NFL draft this year. It's just absolutely insane. Insane.
Yeah, I mean, your best quarterbacks were Bryce, Stetson, and Hooker. Those are your top 3 in whatever order you want to put them in. They were all very, very good. Unfortunately, Bill Bryan kind of stifled Bryce a little bit.
But the kid that was at Vandy, I would take over those 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, KJ Jefferson, he's not draft eligible, but he was
good.
He was
Will
really
Rogers.
Good. Will Rogers.
Yeah.
Will Rogers really good.
I would say like Rattler, Richardson, and Levis are kind of all in that same middle ground. You know, Rattler had a nice finish to the season.
He started balling a little bit there at the end.
He did.
I still don't trust him. Don't trust him for shit, but he started balling there at the end.
Oh, there goes our clean rating. I don't trust him at all, but I have to give him. I have to give credit where credit's due. He did have a good finish to the season.
And I'm not buying the Tennessee hype right now. I think they're going to be good, but y'all, this might be an excuse to tell my Joe Milton joke again. I don't know, but
nice bowl game.
But he was playing Clemson. You know, lots of teams had a nice bowl game against Clemson or a game against Clemson. They weren't.
I mean, Rattler did.
Yeah,
a couple weeks before.
Yeah, I just don't think Tennessee's still quite deep enough to really sustain losing a guy like Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and stuff like that. I just don't think they're they're going to be better than people think. Like I don't think they're going to get crippled by losing.
I do not think Tennessee is a top 10 team for 2023. No. They're predicting them like 6th.
Yeah.
And that's not.
It's
they're going to lose to Georgia. So that's 2 losses right there.
Yeah.
That game was fun.
Frame that game and put it on the mantle. It was it was like when
it's real.
It was like playing Madden on easy level.
I was like, is this the same South Carolina team that got shelled in week 2 against Georgia? Like, what the heck?
South Carolina team got better as the season went on. They finally found the groove.
They really did. They really did. I was impressed with that South Carolina team. And Cassie, I hope you're right. Georgia's going to roll over them every single year. We have essentially owned Tennessee for quite some time. Feels good.
Go Vols. What do you think, Jeb?
What about
Jeb?
No.
Jeb, calm down.
I absolutely agree that Vanderbilt has a chance to beat Tennessee next year.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that.
Vandy, anchor down.
I think Vandy has a chance to win 6 next year.
Vandy's gonna be sneaky good. Like Vandy's a team that like everybody's like, oh, it's Vandy. They play hard, dude. Like they may not be talent wise equivalent to anybody in the entire conference, but my God, they play hard, dude. They will scrap, they will fight, they will. I mean, they're gonna be the pain in the ass.
Yeah, they played Tennessee last year for a chance at 6 wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and got creamed, but they had 6 wins. Yeah, had a chance 6 wins.
I think their non-conference games this year, they're going to be able to stack those wins up a little bit, and I think they're going to get 2 teams in the SEC.
Yeah. No way.
Who will finish last in the East this year? Just
probably Vandy, but
you think Vandy?
Probably Vandy or Missouri.
I think if Vandy's going to win two games, I think it's going to be Missouri, then Florida, then Vandy. I think Vandy finished.
They get Mizzou at home.
Yep.
Let's see.
And I think they can beat Florida
again.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they could beat them again.
Yeah.
That was the other game I was watching. I was
like,
is this
top
really
10
good?
Pick Anthony Richardson right there. That's all you need to know. Put that on his resume tape.
That's right. And that Facebook user says that Vandy receiver is absolute hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's really good.
Jeez, man. That's and Swan, AJ Swan, quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Love AJ Swan. He's going to make a heck of a quarterback of another team and next year or 2 years.
Right.
Now I'm excited to see. Excited and intrigued, I guess. Intrigue's probably the best word, but for Vinny's boys up there in Lexington, Devin Leary. I was about to call him O'Leary, but Devin Leary transferred in from NC State to Kentucky. I think that's an interesting scenario. I think he's a baller, dude. I love that pickup for Kentucky. He is a baller.
He's better than Will Levis.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I can't figure out, and I think somebody is going to be smart enough to do this sooner rather than later. But honestly, if you are a mid-level college football player that's not going to play in the NFL, okay? If you are, second team all SEC level player, or second team all Big 12 player, why aren't you using your one-time free transfer to Vandy so you can get that piece of paper for 1 year's work?
That's a good point.
If you know the rest of your life is going to actually be working and you're just playing football at a very good level, you're a good player, why aren't you going to Vandy? Why aren't you going to Duke and getting that sheet of paper?
Don't they have to get into those places?
But if they're a good football player, they'll get them in.
At Vandy?
Yeah, at Vandy.
Don't you have to have a certain ACT score or something like that?
Not transferring in.
How long will Beamer stick around at South Carolina and the Vandy coach? They are legit, Wes. I think for Beamer, I think if he wins 10 games, he could get hired away. But South Carolina also could they may can bid with people that will be coming after Beamer too. So I think South Carolina will do everything they can to keep him. Clark Lee.
He's out on the first thing smoking.
Yeah, there's no way.
Otherwise, Vandy's a coaching graveyard. So as soon as you can get out, you James Franklin that as soon as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if he goes to a bowl game, if he gets a comparable offer, see ya. Now he's an alum, so it may have to take a little sweetener. But
you think Virginia Tech would come calling for Beamer here in a couple of years potentially?
They better.
Yeah, I agree.
Makes sense. Although that would be honestly a dumb move for Shane Beamer.
Yeah, living under your daddy's.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good thing going at South Carolina. I agree. I think he needs to, unless one of the big boys calls, he needs to stick it out at South Carolina. He needs to stay at South Carolina.
He can lead Virginia Tech into the SEC.
But Virginia Tech will try, and if they back up the Brinks truck, I mean, money talks.
Mm-hmm.
Money talks, but they. Yeah, I don't know. I like him, though. I think he's really good.
I do, too.
He would deserve it. Something about his pedigree just doesn't, obviously his dad is Frank Beamer, but, outside of that, you look at him and he's not, he doesn't fit the conventional mold. He wasn't a coordinator. I mean, he was special teams coordinator for, a year or two. But, he
John
he doesn't
Harbaugh
fit
rules.
the mold. Yeah, he does. He doesn't fit the mold, and it doesn't make sense that he's successful, but he is, and I love it. I love every minute of it. And I hate that it's at South Carolina, but I love that he's successful.
What do you mean by that, Chauncey? You would stay at South Carolina a lot longer than you would at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get an explanation on that one.
Yeah,
Steve.
What's up?
Why would you stay at South Carolina a lot longer than you would at Ole Miss?
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
SEC is SEC. SEC and Big Ten it's just it's all the same.
Try to get into Chauncey's mind. Like, what do you think he could be saying here?
I think he's trying to say that maybe the standards are not as high, and because you can pay about the same amount, you can pay less money at South Carolina. I mean, Kiffin's getting $9 million a year. Shane Beamer's wouldn't touch that for 7 more years.
I think they're on equal. I think they're on equal footing. I think they're both great jobs, obviously because of the league they're in. But I think they're very comparable football programs.
But it's gotten to the point where there's like 6 jobs in the country that Lane Kiffin will legitimately leave for. Now, he might put his name in the mix for all of them and try and use them to actually get a raise. But there's only like 6 places that he can go to because they have to be able to be willing to pay that much money, giving the security and the autonomy that he wants. They're just the perfect job for him is so small. There's not many places that he can go. And I can honestly say there's probably no places Lane Kiffin can go to get everything that he wanted to do. That's one of the reasons everybody was so pissed off in November. South Carolina is kind of the same way. South Carolina and Ole Miss, you can put them in the categories. They're going to play well. They're going to take care of the coaches. If you do what Steve Spurrier did there, they'll build a statue to you. And there's not really that many places where actually coaches can go. And so, I mean, we'll see. You're not leaving South Carolina for Baylor. You're not leaving South Carolina for Oregon. In fact, South Carolina's probably be a candidate. If Shane Beamer left, they would probably be going after the Oregon coach.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Lanning. Yeah, he's an SEC guy. So, that makes sense. I mean, I don't think you leave South Carolina for North Carolina.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. No,
like it's not equal because of the league that you're in.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about, but that's absolutely true. It's not equal at the moment.
It's not equal at all. Like you're not. Like he's in a really good job. The only way Shane Beamer's leaving is if he gets ousted or somebody pays him.
Right.
Which I don't think Virginia Tech can pay. I don't think Virginia Tech can outbid South Carolina. So I think that's safe. Michigan or Penn State?
No, I could see that.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Big Ten's kind of on the same level as SEC. So
it has to be SEC or Big Ten, and even then it has to be a step up and be willing to pay us that much money. And there's probably 10 schools in the Big Ten not willing to pay it,
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin finally decided they're willing to pay Luke Fickell, so that was good to see for that league, that somebody besides Michigan or Ohio State was willing to pony up for a coach.
And Stacey wants to know how many wins for Freeze in year 1.
7.
I'm thinking 6.
Thinking 7, and he'll talk constantly about his team being in the wilderness. It will be oppressive.
I can't imagine a situation to where you're still considering starting TJ Finley after you turn on the tape.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like,
if they have him starting, they may only win 5.
Hey,
this is a perfect scenario for Robbie Ashford. Is a way better quarterback than TJ Finley. Robbie Ashford isn't that great.
Right.
I've told everybody on here a million times that Auburn fans, for whatever reason, do not like me. Okay, they just don't, and it's because I say stuff like what I'm about to say. These people are so sure that they are better than you, that they think they can take your backup quarterback that loses the job and transfer and declares that a win over you.
Right.
They go after all of Ole Miss's assistant coaches, but they're better than Ole Miss. None of them say yes, hardly. And it's just absolutely ridiculous everything's going on the Plains right now. They're going to be fine. Hugh Freeze is a good football coach. But
it'll take them a couple years.
I'm telling you, I think that is the most underrated cult in America. Everybody thinks about Texas A&M. Auburn fans are just as much of a cult as Texas A&M.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
Auburn is the most delusional fan base. Yep.
Delusional. A&M is like weird cult stuff.
Oh, Auburn's
Weird.
a family.
And-
Prayer circles.
Yeah.
Take pictures of it. Yeah, it's so.
Family.
The
like,
gap
what is
between A&M and the next school is very, very great.
Chauncey, are you talking about like an SEC championship, or are you thinking he's going to win a national championship at South Carolina? Because if you think that's going to be tough.
If you win an SEC championship, more than likely you're going to win a natty. But it's a tough league.
If as high as they got was the Citrus Bowl with Marcus Lattimore and Connor Shaw and those dudes, Alshon Jeffrey, that might be their ceiling.
Connor Shaw was a ball.
Yeah, that team those were some dudes on that team, and they won 11 games and ended up in the Citrus Bowl.
And Todd Gurley's cousin too.
I
think that was the game where they nearly killed that Michigan running back.
Clowney.
Yeah.
God, I mean, took his head off. Jesus, never forget that.
That poor left tackle decided that the SEC speed is greater than anything he's ever seen. It was a simple inside zone play, and he could not get in front.
I mean, he was still in his stance, I believe, when Clowney went around him.
Yeah.
I mean, could not.
That guy was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I just hope that left tackle was a senior, because if not, the film session had to be absolutely brutal on that one.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those you just rewind it 30 times and you don't say a word. You just rewind it 30 times.
And you put him in the middle.
You sit back there and the running back's like.
Right, yeah.
No, the running back is watching it like Hugh Freeze in a hospital bed.
Busted ribs and a nose, and
running back's like, great block, bro.
Yeah. Punctured lung, thank you. Yeah.
And I think that was the next play. That was one of the most ball don't lie plays ever, because the play before Michigan got a first down when they didn't get it, and they measured it, and the official, it was like that short. And Spurrier almost lost his mind. The next play, Clowney just killed the running back.
Yeah.
And recovered the fumble himself.
Yeah.
I think it was, like 22-21 or something at that point, getting late in the fourth quarter.
Something like that.
It was close. It was a close game. And the momentum kind of got swung on that automatic first down, but then it just swung right back.
Clowney said, nah, cuz. I'm going to take this thing back. Wham!
Oh, man, that was something else.
Just killed that poor guy.
Mm-hmm.
That running back, man. I was like.
Yeah. I was like, man. I mean, that running back reached for the ball is like just a slow motion. He's just like, he probably felt everything.
Yeah.
That hit. Who was that running back? I don't even remember.
I don't know, but I could just as soon as he got the ball, I just picture like, oh no.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings when Clowney killed him. The place erupted, beer showers.
Something Smith.
Word is now he's just now getting off the turf. God, it's been that long.
Vincent Smith was the running back.
That running back, that play literally is the closest I've ever seen to real life NFL Street.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Dumb
waste.
Oh, NFL Street, love it.
Yes,
that game was awesome.
Our NFL Blitz was fun too.
Yeah, dumb ways to die.
Yeah, that's
we've got a big gift. We've got 2 arcades in the town I live in that's like 80s style that I've been wanting to go to for a while.
Oh, nice.
I've been feeling some like Centipede, and I want to get my Donkey Kong on.
Nice.
What about Galactica or whatever it's called?
Yeah,
Galaga. Yeah.
Galaga. That game is. I love that game.
Yep. Pac-Man, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Clowney's hit reminded me of the Sean Taylor hit in the All-Star game.
But
the Pro Bowl?
no, I think he's talking about the high school. There's a high school
okay.
all-star game, I think, where he just decapitated somebody. But
I was
Sean
gonna
Taylor
say.
decapitated a lot of people a lot of
One
times.
of the hardest hits I ever saw was in the 2003 Egg Bowl. Eli Manning's last regular season game, and there was a punt, and it was back when you could blindside block, and they curled back and blindsided somebody. Going, oh my goodness! It was literally the top of the helmet was the first thing to hit the ground. Just completely folded that player over. It was fantastic.
I remember, Jake, sorry about this one, but Thomas Davis eliminated 3 Alabama quarterbacks in 3 straight plays.
Yep.
To the point where Brody Corral had to limp out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, it would not be hard to break Brody Corral.
Well, no, but they broke his 2 backups, and then Brody Corral had to limp his broken ass back out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In 2008 Egg Bowl, it was something where you literally felt bad for the Mississippi State quarterbacks in that game.
Yeah,
they were just getting mauled. I think State had negative 71 yards rushing that game.
Yeah. I remember Derrick Henry leveling that Wisconsin safety, and he was in our huddle on the pass side.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that hit. Yeah.
God, that was man, you need to, I think Cyrus Quanjo, he was our left tackle. He was in there pointing at him on their sidelines, like, "Hey, you guys over here." He was just pointing back at him, like, "Hey, bud," He was so out of it. I mean, bless that kid's heart.
Well, Corey,
Stacey,
lead us out of here.
All right, Steve.
right.
You can go get your Donkey Kong on now. But
Yes.
we are
Donkey
SEC.
Kong on.
There you go. We are SEC After Dark. No matter what our hot takes are on basketball and all that kind of stuff, we do bring you this fun and madness every single Wednesday night. So be sure to join us if you haven't already. If you haven't already gotten in on the fun, please do, because this train is only going to get bigger and better, stronger, and faster.
Come back next week, Jeb.
Yeah, Jeb. Well, we may see Jeb in regular clothes next week.
Maybe.
So we hope that's all good. Again, I wanted to, before we left, offer the condolences to the Covenant School right around the corner here in Nashville. We're thinking about you. We're all with you in this tragedy, and it's painful for all of us in this, whatever you believe in gun violence or whatever something's got to change and something's got to stop with all that. So, but we are SEC After Dark, presented by betonline.ag. We'll see you back here next week. Until then, go Dogs.
Hotty toddy.
Roll Tide.
Anchor down.
Gosh, your mind.
Roof.
Long time, Paul.
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 Paul.